Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast. Today is Tuesday, June 4th, 2019. Today I'm going to recap Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Blues and the Bruins. Look back on yesterday's baseball games, look ahead to tonight's games, look back at the draft last night, and analyze which picks I liked and which picks I didn't like through the first couple rounds. French Open, we'll go through yesterday's matches and look ahead to tomorrow's matches in the quarterfinal. Women's World Series began last night. Men's baseball. And my best bet of the day. All right, Stanley Cup Final. It was an interesting and entertaining Game 4. Blues are 4-2 winners over the Bruins to tie this thing up at 2 apiece. This was a very impressive performance by the Blues. Each time Boston tied it, they responded back. I really loved that from the Blues last night. Ryan O'Reilly got the Blues going very early, 43 seconds into the game, 4th of the postseason, 1-0 Blues. Charlie Coyle's 9th of the postseason tied it up at 1 apiece. Vlad Tarasenko's 11th of the postseason made it 2-1 Blues. Brandon Carlo's 1st of the postseason shorthanded goal made it 2-2. Third period, Ryan O'Reilly, 2nd of the game, 5th of the postseason, 3-2 Blues. Then Braden Shentz, 4th of the postseason, into the empty net. 4-2 Blues was your final. Number 3 of the game, very deserving, 2 goals, Ryan O'Reilly. Number 2 star of the game with 2 assists, Alex Pietrangelo. Number 3 star of the game with an assist, Zach Sanford. Game 5 is Thursday night from TD Garden. Now we'll move on to baseball, where there was only 4 games on yesterday. One of them was a makeup game due to weather, and the other 3 were planned games. They didn't plan many games for today because they wanted a lot of focus on the draft. Cubs over the Angels 8-1. The Cubs kind of needed that game because they got swept by the Cards over the weekend. They're 32-26 on the year. LA's 29-31. John Lester with the win. Trevor Cahill with the loss. Lester, good bounce back performance. 7 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, a walk, 6 strikeouts, ERA 3.32. Cam Bedrosian opened, pitched an inning, struck out 2, ERA 2.96. Cahill came in 4 in the third inning, 6 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA an ugly 7.18. Dodgers over the Diamondbacks 3-1. Good win for the Dodgers. They're 42-19. They're the best team in baseball right now. Arizona's 30-31. Walker Buehler to win, he's 6-1. Robbie Ray to loss, 4-3. Kenley Jansen is 18th save of the year. Walker Buehler's finally starting to turn it on and look like the guy I thought he was going to be this year. 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 11 strikeouts, ERA 3.69. That was his best performance of the season. Robbie Rice, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, 9 strikeouts, ERA 3.62. Not a bad performance by him either. He just threw 1 bad pitch to Corey Seager, and he kept the Diamondbacks in that game. Padres over the Phillies 8-2, an impressive win for San Diego. They're 31-29. Phillies 33-27. Eric Lauer the win, Aaron Nola the loss. Eric Lauer 6 innings, 2 hits, and earned run, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA 4.18. Aaron Nola 5 in the third innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, ERA 4.63. He was pitching better coming into tonight's game, but he faltered against an improved Padre lineup. Astros over the Mariners 4-2. Houston's 41-20. Seattle is 25-38. Framber Valdez the win. The losing pitcher for Seattle was Corey Guerin. He drops to 0-2. Ryan Presley gets his 3rd save of the season. Corbin Martin only went 3. Gave up 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. 4 hits given up, ERA 5.59. Framber Valdez came in 4 innings, 2 hits. No runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA 3.12. Meanwhile, for Seattle, Wade LeBlanc, 8 innings, 3 hits, and a run, a walk, 2 strikeouts, ERA 5.7. He pitched very well, but he just didn't get the run support. And tonight's games, all night games, at 7 o'clock, you got the Nationals hosting the White Sox. How about this? Reynaldo Lopez is pitching against Steven Strasburg. Lopez, by the way, used to be in the Nationals farm system. He was one of the pieces that went back to Chicago in the lopsided trade with those 2 teams, as the White Sox got 2 good arms in that deal in Lopez, and Giolito Lopez has actually been bad this year. Giolito was supposed to be good. He was bad early on, and now he's finally turned the corner. And then Steven Strasburg's going for the Nats. So that's going to go down as one of the lopsided trades of the last, I'd say, 5 years in Major League Baseball. So that's something interesting in terms of subplots. You have the Braves and the Pirates, Max Fried and Stephen Brault. Twins Indians. You have Shane Bieber going against Devin Smeltzer. Giants Mets. Madison Bumgarner and Noah Syndergaard. So 2 possible trade candidates for the summer going at it. We know one of them is probably getting dealt. The other one we really don't know. Rays Tigers. Blake Snell and Ryan Carpenter. Yankees Blue Jays. Masahiro Tanaka against Clayton Richard. You got the Marlins and the Brewers at 7:40. Pablo Lopez and Chase Anderson. 8 o'clock, Red Sox Royals. Eduardo Rodriguez and George Sparkman. Orioles Rangers. Dylan Bundy and Drew Smyly. Rockies Cubs. Jeff Hoffman against Kyle Hendricks. Reds Cardinals at 8:15. Luis Castillo against rookie right-hander Genesis Cabrera. The Dodgers and the Diamondbacks at 9:40. Hajian Ryu and Tyler Clark. Obviously, Ryu's your favorite for National League Cy Young right now. 10 o'clock, you have the Athletics and the Angels. Frankie Montas and Griffin Canning. Canning looks like an American League Rookie of the Year. Dark horse / candidate, because no one's really talking about him for that, but I think he'll insert himself in the race if he hasn't already. Phillies Padres, you have Jared Eichhoff and Chris Paddock. Let's see how Paddock rebounds from his disappointing start against the Yankees last week. And Astros Mariners, you have Wade Miley against Aaron Moore of the Mariners, who's making his season debut. Now we're going to talk about the draft from last night, go through all the picks, and talk about all the good picks and who reached and who got some steals. So we're going to start, obviously, with the first round. The Orioles took Adley Rutschman. That was expected. That's an A-plus pick. Bobby Witt Jr., Royals, another A-plus pick. That was a very good slam dunk pick by KC. Andrew Vaughn, the first baseman from Cal. I gave that an A-plus as well from the White Sox. Fourth went J.J. Bleday of Vanderbilt. I gave that an A-plus. Detroit takes Riley Green, the outfielder from Haggerty High School in Florida. I give that an A. San Diego takes C.J. Abrams, the shortstop from Blessed Trinity High School in Georgia. I gave that an A+. Cincinnati takes Nick Lodolo. I give them an A+. The lefty from TCU. Texas takes Josh Jung, the third baseman from Texas Tech. I gave that a B-. I thought that was a reach. Atlanta takes Shea Langolers, the catcher from Baylor. I give that an A+. I absolutely love Langolers, and if it weren't for Adley Rutschman, he's the best catcher in the class. He's going to be very good. 10th, Hunter Bishop, the outfielder from Arizona State. I give that pick an A+. And I had that in my final mock draft after so many people had him going to the Rangers at 8. Alek Manoah from West Virginia, the righty. I give that an A+ for Toronto. 12, Brett Beatty, the third baseman from Lake Travis High School in Texas. I give that pick a B-. I thought the Mets reached a little bit because he's so boom or bust. I mean, the only reason why I gave them a B- is because I thought there was a chance that Texas would take him at 8. And I had him going 8 to Texas, but I just think that this range was too high for Beatty. I thought Beatty, if Arizona took him 16, if he fell to 16, I would give Arizona a B+. If he fell to Tampa Bay at 22, I would have given them an A+. So, I think he should have gone between 16 and maybe 21, somewhere in that range. 13, Coyote Cavaco, they say shortstop on here. The Twins drafted him as a shortstop, but I have him as a third baseman from Eastlake High School in California. I give that pick a C+. I thought they reached there. This is somebody, I know there's some buzz about him going 14 to Philly. I know that there's some buzz about him going to the Pirates at 18. But to me, this is a guy that should have been picked in the 20s. Will he be a good player? Probably. But I think 13 was a bit of a reach. That's all. 14, Bryson Stott, the shortstop from UNLV. I give that pick an A+. Good job, Phillies. They take somebody that falls after some people thought he'd go as high as 9 overall to Atlanta. Will Wilson, the middle infielder from NC State, goes 15 to the Angels. I give that pick a B-. He's somebody that can hit, but I think that Wilson should have been picked in the 20s, although there was rumors that Arizona liked him at 16. But Arizona got the guy they wanted, apparently, Corbin Carroll, the outfielder from Lakeside High School in Washington. I give that pick an A. I thought that Corbin Carroll should have gone somewhere between 9 and maybe 14, 15. I thought that would have been a good pick if the Mets took him at 12. But the fact that he fell this far is pretty good for the Diamondbacks, so I give them an A. 17, the Nationals took Jackson Rutledge, the righty from San Jacinto College Prep in Texas. I give that pick an A+. I thought that Rutledge was going to go like somewhere between 9 to the Braves and 13 to the Twins. And I really thought that the Twins would take him at 13, but they apparently liked Cavaco better. And good job on the Nats for taking somebody with some upside like him. Best high school arm in the draft, in my mind. 18, Quinn Priester, the righty from Cary Grove High School in Illinois. I give that pick an A. That was a solid pick by the Pirates. 19 was Zach Thompson, the lefty from Kentucky. I give that pick an A+. That was a steal. I thought he was going to go somewhere like 11 or 12, 13, 14 in that range. A lot of people thought he was going to be picked by the Mets at 12. But no, they decided to reach for the third baseman. And St. Louis takes Zach Thompson. 20 was Kirby George, the pitcher from Milan. Solid pick by the Mariners. I give that pick an A because he's somebody that I thought that the Cardinals or the Nats would take, or even the Pirates. So, good job on Seattle. Atlanta takes Braden Shoemake, the shortstop from Texas A&M. I give that pick a B+. There are some better players on the board, but I like Shoemake. I think he's going to be a good player, perhaps, but I don't think that the Braves should have reached, like, not a major reach, but a semi-reach. So I give that pick a B+, because I think Shoemake's a solid player. And the reason why I give it a B+, because I thought there's a chance he'd go between, like, 25, like, in that range. But, no, he goes at 21. 22, Greg Jones, the middle infielder from UNC Wilmington. This is an interesting player. I know Oakland apparently loved him at 29. I think that Jones is somebody that will eventually go to second base if it doesn't work out for him at shortstop, and the same could be said about Will Wilson from NC State. But Jones is somebody that is fast, is a good defensive player, but I think he will ultimately stick at shortstop. I'm going to give this pick a B+, because I think that there are some better options on the board for Tampa Bay. 23, Michael Toglia, the first baseman from UCLA. I think that this was a major reach. I'm giving this a D. This was one of the worst picks of the first round. And Toglia is somebody I thought would be a second or third round steal by somebody, but no, he gets reached in the first round. And where I think Toglia should have gone was probably in, like, the compensation round, like the competitive balance A round or B round, but not in the first round. The Indians take Daniel Espino, the pitcher from Georgia Premier Academy. I like Daniel Espino. I'm going to give the pick a B+. I think that there are some better options for them on the board. But like I said, Espino's a good pitcher. I think that they took him knowing that the Dodgers really had interest in 25 and then the Diamondbacks had interest in 26. Like, we see this in all sports, that teams like to take players that the team in front of them really loves too. Cody Host goes 25, the third baseman from Tulane to the Dodgers. I'm giving that pick an A-. I think that Host is somebody that is coming into his own a little bit. 26, Blake Walston, a pitcher from New Hanover High School. I thought this was a reach, and I really thought that the Diamondbacks were expecting Espino to fall. I'm giving this pick a C. The Cubs take Ryan Jensen, the pitcher from Fresno State. I like Jensen, but I think this was a reach of a pick. I'm going to say this is a C- pick by me. The Brewers take Ethan Small, pitcher from Mississippi State. I'm going to give this pick a C+. The A's take Logan Davidson, the shortstop from Clemson. I'm giving this pick an A. I can't believe Davidson fell this far. I thought he'd go like somewhere between 16 and maybe 24 of the Indians, but the A's look like they got themselves a steal there. Yankees take Anthony Bolt, the shortstop from Delbarton High School in New Jersey. I'm not a huge fan of this player. This was a fast riser. There's a lot of rumors that he was going to go 20 to Seattle. And the Yankees are a team that needs some middle infield depth in terms of prospects. So, like, they kind of drafted for need rather than best player available. I'm going to give this pick a C because I think that they were better options on the board. Some corner infielders I liked more. There are some high school pitchers I liked more, notably J.J. Gose. But I'm not saying this was a terrible pick. I'm just saying that there are some better options on the board. And the same can be said for teams like the Cubs and the Diamondbacks and the Brewers that drafted around this area. And then 31st was Michael Busch. He was taken by the Dodgers. They drafted him as a second baseman. He really doesn't have a position. I had him as an outfield first base prospect. I give this pick an A-. I thought this was a player that was going to go either to the Rockies or to the Indians, like in that range, or maybe even Tampa Bay at 22. So this was a solid pick. But talk about the reach of the first round. The last pick of the first round was a major reach, and that was the Houston Astros taking Corey Lee, the catcher from Cal. Since the Astros are a team that's been drafting very well lately, and a team that really finds diamonds in the rough in places you wouldn't expect, I'm not going to give them an F for this pick. I'm going to give them a D. I just think there were better players on the board. They could have gone with Brennan Malone. They could have gone with J.J. Gose, who would have been absolutely perfect. Cameron Misner would have been a great pick for the Astros. But no, they decided to go with this catcher from Cal. The 1C round, the Diamondbacks had 2 picks. They take Brennan Malone out of IMG Academy and Dre Jameson out of Ball State. I'm giving the Malone pick an A+. He should have been picked in the regular first round. And the Jameson pick, I'm going to give a C-. The CBA round. Marlins take Cameron Misner, the center fielder from Missouri. I would give that pick an A+. He should have been picked in the first round in the 20s. The Tampa Bay Rays take J.J. Gose, the pitcher for Cypress Ranch High School in Texas. That's an A+ pick. The Pirates take Sammy Siani, the center fielder from Pennsylvania High School. I'm going to give this pick a B+. The Yankees take T.J. Sakema, the pitcher from Missouri. I give that pick a C+. CBA. The Twins take Matt Wallner, the outfielder from Southern Miss. I'm giving that pick a B-. The Rays take Seth Johnson, the pitcher from Campbell. I'm giving that pick an A-. Davis Wenzel, the third baseman from Baylor. A solid pick by the Rangers. I'm going to give that an A. Second round, the Orioles take Gunnar Henderson. A+ pick there. That was fantastic that he fell all the way to the second round. He should have been picked in the first round. I thought that the Dodgers were going to take him in the first round, but they didn't. And among other notable second-round picks, the Royals take Brady McConnell, the shortstop out of Florida. I like that pick. I did not like the Red Sox second-round pick. I thought that was a reach. White Sox second-round pick was a reach. Nasim Nunez, I'm not a huge fan of from the Marlins. But there he was just rumored to be a first-round pick possibility, but he was picked where he should have been in the second round. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this player. I'm going to give this pick a B-. The Tigers reached for third baseman Nick Quintana from Arizona. The Padres reached in the second round Joshua Mears, an outfielder. I like the Reds taking Reese Hins in the second round. That was a great pick. The Giants taking Logan Wyatt from Louisville as a solid pick in the second round. I really liked that the Rays take another solid pitcher in John Dokakis from Texas A&M. The Cubs take a good second baseman in Chase Strum from UCLA. The A's kind of reached for pitcher Tyler Baum from North Carolina. They could have waited till the third round to take him, though. The Yanks go with Josh Smith, the second baseman from LSU, who's shown some promise. And the Red Sox made a good second-round choice. Matthew Lugo, he's the shortstop from the Carlos Beltran Academy. Big fan of that pick. The Astros reach again in the second round. Greg Hessinger, the shortstop from Ole Miss. Competitive balance B round. You had 6 picks. Or no, I'm sorry, 8 picks. I miscalculated there, sorry. And then the Royals had the lone pick in the 2C round. Those picks in the competitive balance B round pick and then that Royals pick. The Royals pick of Jimmy Lewis was pretty good, and I really liked the Diamondbacks pick of Tommy Henry, the pitcher from Michigan. The Orioles made a good pick in competitive balance B round 2 with the center fielder Kyle Stowers from Stanford as well. The Padres reached really bad and took catcher Logan Driscoll from George Mason. So that was weird. All right, now we're going to move on to the French Open. We're going to start at the men's side. We're going to go through today's matches and look ahead to tomorrow. Roger Federer defeats Stan Wawrinka in 4 sets. Rafael Nadal defeats Kei Nishioka in 3 sets. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern, you have 1-seeded Novak Djokovic against 5-seeded Alexander Zverev. I'm going to go with Djokovic there. 4-seeded Dominic Thiem against 10-seeded Karen Khachanov. I'm going to go with Dominic Thiem there. To the women's side, a couple quarterfinals is final. 26-seeded Johanna Konta upsets 7-seeded Solane Stevens in 2 sets as Konta moves on. And at 1:30 Eastern, you have 31-seeded Petra Martic against Marketa Vondrousova. And I think Martic is on upset alert in that one. Tomorrow, you have 2 more quarterfinals. You have 3-seeded Simona Halep against Amanda Anisimova. I'm definitely going with Halep there. And at 8 o'clock Eastern also, you have 14-seeded Madison Keys against 8-seeded Ashley Barty. I'm going to take Barty in that match, although I think it's going to be very, very competitive. Now we're going to move on to men's baseball, go over some of the results from yesterday. East Carolina defeats Campbell 10-3 in the Greenville Regional. Louisville defeats Illinois State 4-3 in an elimination game. Oklahoma State over UConn 3-1 elimination game. East Carolina over Campbell 12-3 in elimination game. Corvallis Region elimination game. Michigan over Creighton 17-6. LA elimination game. UCLA over Loyola Marymount 6-3. Stanford elimination game. Stanford over Fresno State 9-7. The next round begins on Friday, and we're going to pick those series in Friday's podcast. We're going to move on to the Women's World Series now, where UCLA blew out Oklahoma 16-3. That's about as a shocker as I can remember in a women's softball World Series championship final opener. I thought Oklahoma would sweep, but I couldn't have been more wrong. UCLA was awesome. They got a ton of big hits through the game. Oklahoma's pitchers just didn't have it whatsoever. And now we move on, 8:30 ESPN, Game 2, Oklahoma-UCLA. UCLA wins, series over. And if Oklahoma wins, play on the Game 3. And what do I think will happen here? I think Oklahoma will rebound. I think they're the better team. I think they'll win. And they will go on to force a Game 3 for tomorrow night. So give me Oklahoma the rebound. I think it'll be like a 6-5 game that's very competitive throughout. And last but not least, I'm going to do my best bet of the day, brought to you by DraftKings. I did not win last night because I had the Phillies in there and they lost. And then a couple other random things happened as well. Without further ado, here we go. I'm going with Ashley Barty, Simona Halep, Dominic Thiem, Novak Djokovic, and that's all tomorrow morning. The Nationals, the Rays, the Brewers, the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the Padres, wagering 99 cents, 25-28 odds, payout of $26.02. That's it for the podcast today. I'll be back later on today. I'm actually going to have a guest on, Steven Liberman. We're going to talk about the Stanley Cup Final and just talk about some other random things like the NBA Finals, baseball, and NHL and NBA offseason stuff as well. And later on in the week when the draft's over, I'm going to have a draft review podcast and just evaluate every team's draft and whatnot. And then, obviously, on tomorrow's podcast, we'll recap French Open, Women's World Series. We're going to pick Game 3 of the NBA Finals. We're going to do maybe one more activity. Can't think of what yet. And my best bet of tomorrow as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.